Yeah, I mean, I know we can't go on forever, but one of my best stories was trying to swim from Russia to the USA solo.
You mean from like to Alaska?
Let me. Can I tell you the story quickly?
Oh, for sure, yeah. Oh, we got plenty of time.
All right, let me. Obviously you've got Russia and Alaska, about 180 kilometers across between the two of them of Bering Sea. Okay,
Right.
I was invited to be part of a relay attempt, a Russian relay attempt that was looking to swim from Russia, world first, across to America. Okay, and it was a big international thing, mostly Russians, but then they had an international component, of which I was one. And it was meant to take us 3 or 4 days in a relay. It took us about 13 days eventually. I turned 40 years old twice, by the way, because smack in the middle of that sea is the international date line. So it's where kind of everything meets. So, on one side is 24 hours away or 23 hours away from the other side.
Wow.
So, and I happened to have my foot, we had just crossed that line. We were in American waters, and I turned 40, and the weather turned so bad, and we had to anchor. And because we couldn't move anymore, we ran out of permissions to be in American water, being a Russian vessel. So they then had to go back into Russia, which put me back into yesterday. So I turned 39 again. Back a date.
That's hilarious.
And then when we crossed over the date line again, I turned 40 again. All the time caught up. So that's quite that's just a sideline. That was a fascinating story. However, while I was on that relay trip, which was successful in the end, and a complete adventure, I spotted 2 little islands called the Diomede Islands, okay, smack in the middle of this Bering Sea. So they're 2 little clumps of rock, really. One is called Ratmanova, which is Big Diomede, and that's in Russian waters, and 3.8 kilometers across, which is about 2 miles. There's another little island called Little Diomede, and that's American water. So I figured if I can swim between those 2 islands, I will be the first male to have ever swum from Russia to America solo. Now, it's been done by a lady called Lynn Cox, okay, who I've met, and what a great swimmer. She's an American woman, lives in San Diego, I think. Well, that's where I met her. And she did it in 1980s. No one's ever done it or tried it since. So I really, really wanted to try and do that. So living in Cape Town is quite hard, but eventually I flew with a group of guys who had different goals. They wanted to do it in wetsuits, and they didn't want to get cold. They just wanted to do quite cool swimming from Russia to the USA and across the date line. Oh, and just so that one island is 23 hours time difference to the other, but they're only 2 miles apart.
Right.
So it's quite a weird. So you're swimming from one side to the other, and it's very bizarre in your head trying to figure it out. It's either going to take you the longest swim of your life, or it's going to be the quickest.
Right.
So anyway, where was I? Oh, so I had to fly from Cape Town to Johannesburg, Johannesburg to London, London to New York, New York to Anchorage, Anchorage to Nome, Nome to Prince of Wales, and then I had to get on a little boat and catch a ride out to the island to start the swim. So it's,
wow.
You just have no idea. And what had happened in all the preparation that we had done to get there, happened to coincide with the first time that Russia decided to invade Ukraine, or I say the first time, maybe there's a time before, but the last time, so not this current time that we're happening now. So
when was it? What year?
It must have been 2014. Yeah.
2014. Was that when they took over Crimea?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the politics. All I know is that it was hypersensitive, and the Russian island is a military base, kind of a first line of defense from the American side.
Right.
So we couldn't get permission to enter Russian waters, no matter how hard we tried, because you're going through unorthodox ways. You're going by boat. You're going to swim into Russia, essentially. Right. So they just don't understand that. It was just too crazy, so they said no. There's also a whole colony of walrus that live there that are quite dangerous, and it adds to the hecticness.
Walrus?
Walrus.
Okay.
Yeah, walrus.
Walrus.
Walrus. And yeah, so eventually the American expedition company that took us, because we couldn't get permissions, refused to go across that date line and into Russian waters. So they'd only escort us the first mile from America to that line, then they wouldn't go any further. So we lost our support crew, most of it. There was only 1 or 2 boats. But when you're in a place that remote and you can throw enough cash at anybody to kind of, someone's going to figure it out for you. So first, just backtracking. We didn't get permission to get into Russian waters. So generally what normal people would do is then to say, well, it didn't work. Sorry, we can't get permission. I decided I want to go anyway because I know that when you get into these really remote places, they often have laws of their own. And money talks, so you throw a bit of money at the problem and you find a way to get yourself across. So that we did, and we got out there. But no one gave any support whatsoever. The locals were just saying, you'll get shot out the water. Don't do it. Yeah. And it's really messed with my mind. So remember, I'm there with a really good bunch of mates that are doing a swim, but they're on a completely different mission. So they've got no threat from the cold, but they're in proper wetsuits and protection. I'm going to try and do this swim solo in a speedo. Okay, so I'm going to be pushing myself to the brink of death, and then I need someone to take over when I've achieved my goal and get me to recover and bring me back to life. So it is quite a hectic mindset. It's one when you're doing it with a bunch of mates who are doing the same thing with you, but when they're not, you feel very alone. The next thing that went on is that when I went past those islands on the relay attempt, we measured the water at 6 degrees Celsius, okay, which is flippin' cold. What's that? And anyway, work it out. 6 degrees would be about 45, 48 Fahrenheit. 43 Fahrenheit. Okay. And I reckon I could do the 2 mile distance in that, just over 2 miles, 2.2 miles. When we got there to do the solo, it was 3.2 degrees Celsius, which is closer to 33 Fahrenheit. So it's really cold. Makes a massive difference. So it's half the time before you're dead, basically. It's not just 3 degrees colder. Plus, we lost the support crew. So we lost about 3 boats. So now we got 5 guys swimming. 6 guys swimming, 5 in wetsuits and 1 in a speedo, having to share a boat. I have to get myself in a very meditative state. So I separate myself from the herd. They all jokes and banter and are talking about what the plans are. I just had to get in the zone to focus on the cold. And we eventually got a guy who was prepared to take us into the Russian water and drop us at the island. And I made a call. I'm not going to climb out on the island because immediately you can see the Russian military react.
Really?
Yeah, you can see them. They watch. They have nothing else to do out there. So they're watching like, what the hell's going on here?
And I imagine they're probably fucking half in the bag drinking vodka.
What else is there to do there? So anyway, I lost a little bit of nerve and decided I'm still going to do the swim, but I'm not going to access the Russian island, which means I can't claim the record because you have to exit land on each side to say you've done the swim. So I decided just take me to opposite the island, drop me in the water, and I'll swim hell to leather back to America, which is what I did. But I need a support boat alongside me because it's 3 degree water. There were patches of 6, so it was between 3 and 6 Celsius. And because we had lost some of the support crew, we were all sharing a boat. And when we reached that date line, geographically, obviously there's no line. You're kind of swimming one stroke, you this side of the line, the next stroke, you that. The guys all stop for a photo shoot. And I can't stop. So, it just went. So they all said, no, just swim on. So I kept swimming by myself, completely exposed out in the middle, knowing that I'm dying body-wise.
Right.
There are walrus in the area. There are currents that are sweeping me out. And I swam the 3.8 or the 2 mile distance, and the support boat came alongside me, and I realized I got my trajectory horribly wrong. So I wasn't swimming to America. I had to swim at an angle to compensate for the currents running between the islands. That I'd got a little bit wrong. I'd gone a bit too hectic because I didn't have a boat beside me, and you can't really see where you're going. Bottom line is, I didn't make it. I got pulled out.
Really?
I did the distance. So I swam from Russia to America, but I did not start on the Russian island, so I can't claim the record. Long story for that, but it's quite hard to picture all. But if I had the visuals, it makes a lot more sense, I'm sure.
That's
anyway, it was an adventure.
Amazing. I mean, I don't think anyone would fault you for not touching on land in Russia in fear of getting shot. I mean, that's fair.
Listen,
you still did it.
I still did it, and the other thing in my head, just the last hurdle, was that I didn't personally believe I'd get shot, although that's what I was told by the people who should know. But even if they didn't shoot and they just pulled me out and arrested me, as we know, legally in Russian waters, I need proper medical support to recover, and they're not going to know that. So they're going to take me and maybe try and process. And I'm going to be trying to tell them in English, dude,
Some
I'm
guy
dying.
in a Speedo.
Arrested a guy in a Speedo. And he can't talk English or Russian.
What's worse, arresting a guy in a Speedo or shooting a guy in a Speedo?
I don't know. But yeah, all these things were playing in my mind, and I let it get the better of me. In retrospect, I should have just gone and climbed out on that Russian island and swum across, and I don't think I would have had a problem. They probably would have clapped and applauded because they're so bored. But it was a different political time. So
right.
Well.